Hey, I had to do that all over again. Okay, so again, Thomas Ray Horton here. That's my given name by my mom, but I'm trying to get that name changed to Tyrell Soraya. It's kind of sounded too Anglo for me. You know, I mean, I know it's biblical really, but well, Thomas is, but it sounded too Anglo to me at that time. So I've been trying to get it changed. But that was before, that was before, I had this money issue. So when you're going through it, you learn how to become a decent cook. I wouldn't say the best, but you learn how to become a really good cook that you can even surprise yourself. So, you know, store brand stuff, store brand, I should say, all purpose bacon for anything you want to bake or, cook, oil to keep the pancakes or waffles really light. I would have preferred milk, but, I always got to go with the water. And then something to mix it up a little bit, pecans. So right now I'm cooking, a West Coast favorite, chicken and waffles. And when it came to the chicken, well, that chicken turned out to be some of the best chicken I ever made. My mom, she pretty much taught me everything I needed to know about how to fry something up or bake something. Well, baking is easy. Frying is difficult because you gotta coat it multiple times to make it absolutely crispy. And I'll say I did a pretty phenomenal job. I seasoned it up and, because, we, I ain't saying everybody's like this, but I ain't saying every white person is like that. I'm just saying most of them don't really know how to season up food. Nothing against nothing against them. I'm just saying because I was very sociable. I was very worldly when I got out of high school. Didn't really had no problem making friends with anybody. I'm just saying my mom taught me how to season up something really good, but not to the point where it would give you high blood pressure. But so yeah, I'm really, when you're on your own, because this is my sister's kitchen, very spacious, very, very wide open. She's doing pretty good for herself. She's a E5, I think that's petty officer second class. So she's not up there with she ain't making as much as an officer, but she's a non-commissioned officer. So, she's doing pretty good for herself. But, she has a daughter, my niece, who, was with her dad right now. So I got the place to myself. And like I said, when you are pulling strings together, as the saying goes, and you trying to really put something together to make a decent meal that will fill you up and also taste good, you learn how to really start experimenting with seasoning and stuff like that, or how to add the right amount. I wasn't always like I guess chemistry was one of my favorite subjects. Anything science related, but it was the math part that kind of always threw me off. But yeah, biology was really my thing. But I'm also into all kind of things. But yeah, you start to really know how to mix things right. So this, yeah, making chicken and waffles, and I tell you, if you ain't got a woman, if you ain't got a woman who like you don't, first of all, you shouldn't rely on anybody to make food for you. You got to get up and do it yourself. I know a lot of guys who are, especially a lot of guys who probably, this whole thing where guys and or women are more independent, got their, going for what's theirs, as they say. But dudes are more likely, to be without a woman for, this. I guess they call it like uh, a spate of dryness, if you understand the meaning. For a lot of guys, it's like they're more online, they're more awkward, I guess, in these younger generations. People in general just ain't having as many kids, which, if you can't afford to take care of them, then yeah, like I ain't got a kid myself, maybe looking for that special lady one day. And it's not like I have any problem talking to women, but until I actually come across one that's more organic, not just on some dating site or something like that, then until that point, well, I'm cooking for myself. So, I'll just look at that. That batter looks really good. Look, no lumps, no nothing. Very, yeah, no lumps or anything. That's how mama taught me. That's how mama taught me. Yeah. But yeah, so when some people, some people don't know how to do for themselves enough, it became necessity for me though. My first outing straight out of high school, it's like, oh well, you got to learn how to cook for yourself. Well, they had cooks on the ship, obviously, the culinary specialists. But I tried my hand at cooking when I was on the barge while we were in dock in San Diego Bay, on the Carl Vinson. I had to learn to cook for myself. I made a pretty good omelet. I mean, that was some of the best breakfast food I made. I can make pretty much anything, any time of the day. Had to add some oil right just now. Make it as light as possible. Make it crunchy. Make it supple. Crunchy around the edges, but supple throughout the main mass of the waffle. And that's just the oil for the waffle itself. You gotta. How many of y'all have a waffle maker at home? Like this. Yeah, a waffle maker. Yeah, my sister hooked us, got this, but she don't even use it as much. I mean, I pretty much laid claim to this. Yeah. So my sister, she gonna be on deployment from November 18th to sometime in May, which is the usual deployment time schedule. It's always when I was in the Navy. That's when we always went on deployment. I only been on one full deployment. I came in on the Carl Vincent like halfway through the deployment, so I didn't have to experience the whole thing. But I still had to be there for 2 or 3 months. I think it was 2 months, 2.5 months, something like that. Yeah, so about 2.5 months. And now we were in the Persian Gulf. I flew in onto the carrier from Bahrain, and that was an experience. Like onto a moving ship. That was the first and only time that I actually had that experience, and it's pretty jarring, I guess you could say. So yeah, I mean the Navy provided me with some good memories, but also some of the memories that I'd rather not have. Going on shore leave, and then let's see, I went on shore leave the first time was in Dubai, I believe. We went to Dubai twice on the same deployment. And yeah, it was getting to see the Burj Khalifa, the tallest building in the world. It was completed. It was completed by that time. It was like 2009. I was in there. I was in the Navy from June 26, 2009 to December 22nd, 2012. It was for a full 7 year contract, but yeah, some things happened. You know, tag misplacement. So I was an electronic technician. That's what they trained me for, and my whole thing was the radio banks, HF radio, which are, that they say the World War II era stuff. They have super high frequency and extremely high frequency radios that are that link up with the satellite. So they don't need the HF radios are just for over the horizon. They bounce off the atmosphere and bounce off and the old style. So they say if it's not broke, don't fix it. They keep it around as a redundancy. So yeah, that's what I was fixing on when I was in the Navy. And yeah, that's pretty much, how I got to see a lot of the world. Like that whole try the truth thing that they always apply to recruits with. I don't even know if they still do recruiting out of high school anymore. If somebody want to let me know if they still do that. But now in hindsight, I got a whole new look on recruitment out of high school. I'm like, it's just another pipeline to feed people into the military-industrial complex, So, with age comes a lot of new perspectives. So that's pretty much how I look at it. Like, it's just another pipeline, And this was during Operation Enduring Freedom. I think that's what it's called when I was in the Navy. So, yeah. I was doing for myself, making my own money plans, setting up a savings account. And I saved up a pretty good amount when I was in there, a little over $12,000, which I ain't never had that much money since then. I got close before this last incident just a few weeks ago. But yeah, I was doing for myself, helping my mom back home, or at least I thought I was. I wasn't too up to date about how to actually send the money. I knew how to send money, but I guess it wasn't being sent. But I got a chance to actually help her out more directly once I came back home. So, she was working then, so it's not like she was dependent on me, but, it's just something to help out. But I actually, I'll try to be the responsible one and actually help out when I'm not, doing, like, I don't really, when I have a good amount of money in my savings account, I have a good amount of money. I always spend on before all this the downturn in the economy, because everybody feeling it. But with this government just opened back up, so people should be getting their food stamps. I used to be on food stamps, but for low earners and stuff like that. But I've been the last 7-8 months. I've been spending. No, wait. I got off of food stamps way back last year, early last year, after I came back to live down in Macomb, Mississippi. But yeah, I haven't been back on since then. Cause like too much of a hassle going back and forth and just. But not that I wouldn't want to, but you gotta do what you gotta do. So you gotta use money most of the time, and everybody know how high those prices are. But these gonna be some of the most well refined waffles, or just one major waffle. But these gonna be some of the most well refined waffles, because I'm just standing here talking to y'all. Whoever's gonna look at this video, standing here talking to y'all, but reminiscing about my past doing for myself, being on my own, being away from home. The whole reason I went into the Navy, because they said, oh, well, you get college. That was the first thing I said. Well, I also want to travel because there's going to be few opportunities for me to travel any other way. Maybe if I joined the Peace Corps, that might be an opportunity. I didn't even think about that because they it wasn't the peacemakers that came to recruit me. It was the war makers. I guess that's one way you can look at it. But yeah, maybe the Peace Corps should do recruitment out of it. Go into the schools and do recruitment. I'm pretty sure that the Peace Corps would be allowed to do it. I mean, the schools, it's not in their best interest to send some of their kids off to the military industrial pipeline, but maybe they'd be more prone to work with the Peace Corps over the regular military, if anything. That's just my my approximation of how they might think. But yeah, that's all I wanted to. Let me get this really doused in. I'm pretty sure it's gonna turn out really well. Add some pecans to them. Actually, add a little honey to it. Yeah, add a little honey to it. Nah, this ain't. The syrup is more. Add a little syrup to the mix. Definitely sweeten it up a little bit. Not too much, because I'm gonna put syrup on top of it anyway. Let's see. Add some nuts to it. Oh, actually, I like to crush them up a little bit. Not too many. Yeah, there we go. Okay. Yeah. Now, crush them up really good. This is how you get by. Make something that's palatable, and yeah, that's nice right there. Yeah, look at that. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, this is what you call improvising. If you can't go out and eat an IHOP or something like that, then you got to do what you got to do. IHOP or Denny's or what else? Any of the other. If you can't go out and eat at IHOPs, Denny's, or I forgot the other. It's another joint around here. Like, they got a lot more stuff than they do. They got a lot more stuff here in Hampton, Virginia than they got in Macomb. But Macomb's coming up. Macomb, Mississippi. But yeah, that's gonna turn out really nice. Probably a bit. I constantly say that it's gonna turn out to be the best batch I ever made. But I think this is actually gonna be pretty good because instead of that stock, the honey it's more coagulated, so it ain't running as well as it should. But yeah, this is gonna turn out to be probably the best waffle I made so far since this whole thing went down. But yeah, that's pretty much what I wanted to say. And yeah, just a little cooking tease or how to improvise.